Hello, and welcome to day 5 of this incredible journey. If you have not been keeping up with things, I want you to know that this train is in motion. We started off this week kicking off the CEO Shift live stream series. It's me coming back to the mic and really sharing from my heart, talking a lot about the corporate to entrepreneur journey. The first 4 days have been incredible, and you can watch them. If you go to my YouTube channel, there is a link where all the replays are there. I'm going to put them there for all of the live stream series that I will be doing this month. But it feels really amazing to be back, to be sharing with you, to be talking about this experience when you have that internal nudge that is calling you to start your business. Now, today I thought I would do a little different format. And instead of me sharing, I wanted to bring on a different voice that is going to share from their own experience. Not only their experience of starting their business, launching their business, and growing their brand, but I've had the opportunity to coach and mentor this amazing woman, and I wanted her to talk about her own journey to purpose, her own journey to positioning, and even her own journey to impact and income. Today, I decided to call this moving from lived experience to lasting impact, because that's exactly what comes to mind when I think of Jacinth. So I want you to see yourself in her story. I want you to see yourself as someone who is saying yes to purpose, even when it didn't feel perfect, even when it didn't feel polished, and even when she wasn't fully prepared. She still managed to get past all of those barriers and say yes to her journey. And her whole journey is truly about moving from lived experience into making lasting impact. And the amazing thing is she is not done yet. She is on the journey to making impact and income. And I think one of the most powerful parts of Jacinth's journey is watching what happens when a woman stops waiting for perfection and starts saying yes to what she knows she is called to do. And so I wanted to bring her onto the live stream with me today. I wanted you to hear a firsthand experience, and I wanted to introduce Jacinth Dada to you. She's a coach, she's a speaker, she's a powerful voice for women who are healing and rising. She is the founder of the Snapback, going from trauma to triumph. But she didn't start with a perfect plan. She started with purpose. And I think that's the amazing part, is she really moved in the direction that she was being called. And now she's building something that belongs to her and serves so many. And so I want to invite Jacinth onto the stage with me. I want to give her a chance to talk about her experience. And I want you to hear firsthand from someone who has truly taken that corporate to entrepreneur journey, started it. So Jacinth, welcome. Thank you for saying yes to joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Denise, for having me.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Yes. My name is Jacinth Dada, and I am the creator and the founder of the Snapback from Trauma to Triumph, which has evolved into the Snapback Life with Jacinth. And listen, I have had this dream and this vision for decades. And I was sharing with someone the other day that when I think about where I am now with the snapback life, the snapback from trauma to triumph, I remember in my early 30s, I was standing in a conference and I had all these dreams and all this vision that I believed that God had placed in my heart to accomplish. But I had young children. I mean, I was working, a young married person. And I realized that how can I accomplish all of this, all that God has placed in me? And in the center of this conference, I heard the voice of God said to me, you will accomplish everything that I've placed in your heart when your children are old enough to be accountable for themselves. And that was just a reflection on this week. So, yes, the snapback life and this entrepreneurial journey began a few years ago, approximately 4 years ago. And I never thought that I can have a business. I'm a professional. I'm a registered nurse, a intensive care nurse. My specialty is neonatal intensive care. And that has been my life for over 35 years. But I never thought that what I have, the dreams and the experiences that I've had in life, emotional trauma, physical trauma, and when God healed me, and I'm still on a healing journey, that I was able to turn my trauma into triumph. And that is the journey that I've been on. And thankfully, I've had a few coaches and a few mentors. But in the past almost 3 years, close to 3 years, Denise Taylor has been a pivotal person, a mentor, or coach. I mean, and sometimes a therapist in my own life and in my own journey. So, yes, the
Oh,
snapback life is growing.
it is growing. And I remember when we started, you had a list of things that you wanted to do. And you've checked so many things off that list. And I know sometimes when we are heads down in the work and we see what's up ahead, we forget to look back and really look at all of the things we have managed to accomplish. And as I was thinking about our time together, I can remember some of the early days when it was really about point and click and how you could figure things out. And now you have your podcast, you have been a part of a best-selling book. You now are on the heels of, or I guess up and coming, about to release your journal. You just
Mhm,
have all of these amazing accomplishments that you have been able to do on the way. But if you take yourself back to the early stages, it didn't start from this perfect plan. It was a great vision, but
mhm.
executing that with a plan was a little bit different and difficult. So tell me, what was going on when you realized that you were ready for something different that started this all for you now?
That is a good question and a good point. And you're right. I had so much I wanted to do and so much that I had created and a plan that I had for years, for decades. But about 3, 4 years ago, I realized that to be able to execute the vision and to be able to monetize, and not only that, but to able to add value and to empower other women, because that's what it's all about for me, and to make this a business, right? I wasn't able to do that myself. I am not a business person at that time. I was in healthcare, and I understood at that point that I needed help. And I had to, hire the help that I needed to be able to execute what was written on paper and what was written in my mind. I would not have been able to accomplish all that I've accomplished thus far with the snapback life, the snapback from trauma to triumph, without being intentional about seeing the fact that I had a need, I needed help, and was intentional about getting the help that I need. We cannot do life by ourselves. You cannot run a business. You cannot speak. You cannot do anything that you want to do that will add value and be impactful if you do not realize that help is needed and help is available for us when we begin our entrepreneurial journey.
I love that. I love that. I can remember the look on your face, and I want you to go back there. I know you're long removed from that point of where you were facing some of those early fears and doubts and things that were coming up for you. I know when we first connected, you were at a really big crossroads because you were trying to determine whether or not you were going to stick with it, just because there was
Mhm.
a lot of overwhelm with all of the things that felt like they were on the list to do, especially when it came to some of the technology things that launching your own business requires. So go back there. Tell me about the fears. Tell me about the doubts that came up when you started on this journey. And what do you think were some of the factors that made a big difference in you getting past them?
Wow, yes, there were a lot of fears. There were a lot of self-sabotage, and there was a lot of comparison during that time because I had the opportunity to be in a mastermind initially with you. And I was in a company of extraordinary women that were already far gone in their business, doing life, doing the things that they envisioned. And I was this neophyte in this company of these giant of women, and had no idea what it took to begin a business. I didn't have an idea. All I had was a vision. All I had was a dream. And what happened in those moments, I had many times that I wanted to just like, this is not for me. I mean, it's good to have a vision, it's good to have a dream, but I don't have what it takes to do what I envision. And along the way, I was encouraged, I was empowered, I was coached, I was mentored to realize that there is help, and technology was not my thing. And I remember, Denise, you came on the sideline and you saw that I was struggling. And you said to me in that moment, I never forgot it. I was in New York at that time. And stream to be on the mastermind. And at that time I felt, this is it. I'm not gonna do this. And I remember you called me or you texted me and said, I want to help you because I had everything in line, but I did not. This is basically how she said it, that she wants to help me to be able to drive my own vehicle. Because a lot of times you have all that you need. You have the goal, the vision, and everything in place. I mean, I was invested in myself, but still, I did not know how to drive this vehicle called my vision until someone was able to see the potential in me and see that I had what I needed in that season to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. And that's why I've accomplished all these other things right now because someone saw me and I was intentional about being transparent, about being honest that I needed help to be able to move forward.
Mhm. I love that. So when you take yourself past the fears and doubts, usually what starts to happen is we get in our head. What helped you move from thinking about it to actually doing something? Because when you run into those barriers and those obstacles, right, and someone comes and says, I'm willing to help you, you still got to get out of your head because
Mhm.
it's real for you what's happening. So, what helped you get out of your head? What helped you move past just the thinking about it and actually start doing it?
That is a great question. What helped me to move past myself was to have a shift in my mindset and to understand that this vision that I had since I was in my 20s, it never left me. I go to bed thinking about it. My entire life was focused on this vision. So I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I could not give up. I could not allow my own self to sabotage what God had placed in me to do, and that is purpose. Knowing my why, I knew why I had to step out of my distorted mindset and to begin to focus on the vision, knowing my why.
Mhm. I love that. And so when you look at yourself now, both not just professionally, but personally, what's different about you?
Wow, what's different is growth, growth and exposure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that in life, there has to be seasons of growth. And a lot of times the growth is painful. It requires pain.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand that anything that we're going to produce as women that are going to be impactful, we first have to go through that metamorphosis. We first have to go through that mind, resetting our minds, how we think of ourselves, how we see ourselves, and knowing that we are packed with purpose and we have to step out of our own way and allow God to do what is necessary. And He's not going to come down and do it for us. We have to be able to tap into the resources that He has available for us. And that resources are usually in other people that have traveled that journey before. And they're able to help you to do it and to do it with ease and with grit and with determination.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I would imagine those are some of the characteristics that have grown in you, the grit, the determination. I know I see those things when you're making some choices and decisions about your work and about your business. So tell us a little bit more about the snapback life. What is that all about?
So the snapback life, as I said earlier, was birthed from my own emotional trauma, from my own life experiences. And what the snapback is about, I always want to, give an analogy. It's like having a slingshot or a rubber band, and you're pulling this rubber band. It's so much tension. But when you pull and you pull and you pull, right? And when you let it go, that rubber band or whatever you have in that slingshot is able to supersede and end up in places that you never thought you would end up, right? And that's what the snapback is about. The snapback is basically to empower women that have been through emotional trauma or any kind of trauma or setback, and to empower them, to let them understand that they are able to rebound, that there is life after trauma, and that trauma is not your destiny. It is not where you're going to live. It is a process in the journey. And when you have the tools, one of the tools that I've created with this whole snapback from trauma to triumph is called the rest. It's the rest principle, where the R is basically to reflect on where you've been. The E is to embrace who you are, embrace your vision, embrace everything that you have experienced. And then the S is for strengthen, that you're going to be in a company of women that are going to help to strengthen what has remained. And what has remained is your resilience. And then the T is for transformation. So ultimately, the snapback life is about our ultimate transformation in becoming the women that God has created us to be.
So, what was it like working on a book? Tell us about that part of your journey.
Wow, that was a dream come true. I had the opportunity to co-author the Wisdom Gifts 2 with a group of amazing and extraordinary women led by Kim Coles. And that experience was able to birth something in me that I've had for a long time. And that was to be able to be a published author.
Mhm.
And the experience, it took about a year, right? The experience, there were times that there was highs and low. There were times that I questioned myself, what am I doing? Am I able to pen some of my story, some of my trauma, and allow women to see in the pages that yes, it doesn't matter. where what you've come out of. It doesn't matter the trauma, it doesn't matter the pain, but we're all able to snap back from the traumas of life. And it was a great experience to see my words, to see a little bit of my story in print in a best-selling book. It was a great accomplishment. It was a great accomplishment. And not only that, what it does, it propelled me, it motivated me that there's so much more in me that I want to share to the world. Yes.
I love that. I love that. And I'm so excited for that accomplishment and watching you be committed to that part of the journey and fulfilling something that you had a long time desire to do. It's always great for me when I'm working with someone who is achieving the things that they know are a part of their journey, because you're creating legacy, you are creating empowerment, and that will live on for so long and help so many people. And so I thought that that was just so huge. So congratulations on that
Thank
again.
you.
And you were right. There was more in you. And you came back around almost at the anniversary of the start of writing the book and put together a journal. And the journal is something that is available and releasing. And so tell us more about that.
Yes. So let me grab this here. So the journal, which is the Snapback Life Transformational Journal, it's a 30-day journal that I lead women into areas of self-care, because one of my passion is teaching and encouraging and empowering women of the importance of taking care of themselves. Because when we know the importance of who we are and the importance of taking care of ourselves, then we are able to be more effective. We're able to add value to others, because one of the things I always say, I cannot pour from an empty cup. You understand me? So we have to understand and be intentional about caring for ourselves. And the reason this journal, which is now available on Amazon, is such an important part of everything that I've accomplished so far, is that it kind of sums up everything that I've been talking about for years now, right? I lead women into this 30-day journal on how to, it's basically a transformational journal, and I'm excited about it. And Denise you have been a pivotal part in me accomplishing this journal, because I've been writing this journal and trying to put it together for probably 2 years.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think the book also, as I said earlier, was like a pivotal era. It was like a what can I say? It was like a catapult for me. It lit a fire in me to get it done. So I was able to get it done very, very quickly, because I had all the information. Everything was already written, but I just didn't have the impetus and the withal to do it. And my coach and mentor, Denise Taylor, was able to motivate me and help me to be able to compile it and have it published. So yes, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's really amazing to me, especially when I go back and I think about the early days of you and where you were with technology, but now you host a live stream of your own on Fridays within your community. You also have a podcast, and all of these things you have been able to learn how to manage them on your own. And when I think about the conversation that you brought up, when I said, I want you to understand how to run your business, you know how to run your business. And so, ways ways that it may not have been your experience, you have learned. And I think that that is a big part of working one on one with someone, is they can roll up their sleeves, they could take the time to show you and help you process through. What was that experience like for you, learning the ins and outs of the technology, and how do you feel about it now versus when you started?
Wow. Great question. I mean, when I started, believe me, I mean, I knew how to turn on my computer. I knew a little bit about, technology, but I did not understand a lot of things. And compared to then and now, it is a world of difference. And like Denise said, when you have someone that is available to roll up their sleeve and to help you to navigate the nuances of technology, because a lot of us going into, you know, entrepreneurship or trying to run a business or, have your brand out there, it is very difficult when you don't know how to, get on a live, how to do the technology aspect of it. But now, believe me, I'm still learning. But let me tell you, it's like night and day. It's like night and what it does, it makes your life a little easier. And not only that, it adds confidence to what you're doing. You don't easily want to give up, because when you think of where you were compared to where you are now, and I'm speaking personally, I don't want to give up that easily. I don't want to give up that easily, because I know that once I have someone in my sphere, I'm able to accomplish so much more, because we don't know everything, but we need help to accomplish what we need to accomplish.
Mhm. So, one of the ways that people struggle, just being quite transparent, is
Mhm.
with investing in help. And I know for yourself, you have been willing to make those investments in yourself. You have been willing to say, I don't have all the answers, but I want to get the help and I'm willing to invest to get the help. Like, what advice would you have for women who recognize they need support, but they're still trying to figure it out on their own?
Wow. Yes, that is a big advantage. I would the advice that I have is that when you know what you want to do, when you have a dream and a vision, it's good to write it down. It's good to, the Bible said, write the vision and make it clear. But the thing about it is that you have to develop yourself. And the only way to develop yourself is to invest in yourself. And a lot of times as women, I said this years ago on a, I had the opportunity to speak somewhere. And one of the things I said at that time is that as women, we are so quick to invest, and I wouldn't even call it an investment, to buy Louis Vuitton, to buy some red bottoms, and to pay, top dollar for these things. But when it comes to investing in ourselves, then we don't want to do it. We don't want to pay the monies, the investment, to hire coaches, to hire mentors, to be able to help us to advance in the things that we want to advance in. So I would advise you that yes, it's going to take monies. If you want to make money, you have to invest in yourself. If you want to be impactful, if you want to add value to others, there are things that you have to do when it comes to investing monetary in your own life. And it requires coaches, it requires therapists, it requires mentor, it requires classes, going back to school, whatever it takes. So I would advise any woman, if you have a vision that is bigger than yourself, and usually our visions are super bigger than ourselves. And for you to be able to walk out that vision, you have to have what I call destiny helpers. And a lot of time, those destiny helpers doesn't come free. There is a cost. and
Mhm.
we have to be willing to pay the cost.
Yeah, I love this concept that I recently heard, that that exchange of money is really an investment in the commitment. It is the currency
Yeah.
of your commitment, and I think that that is so right. I think some of the reasons why we hesitate making the investment oftentimes isn't the number we're told; it's the commitment we believe that we have in it for ourselves.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that you suggested, which is really powerful, is to really get close to your why and to really get close to the vision and understand what has inspired you with it. This is one of the reasons why I will tell you people struggle when it's just a good idea versus a God idea. And this is why I always try to get you to connect with purpose, because purpose is going to be sustaining to you on your journey. It's going to keep wooing you to the finish line. It's going to keep wooing you for advancement. And I think that this is so, so very key. So, one of the questions I have for you is, what does it feel like now when you have the reflection that I am actually building something that belongs to me? When that lands with you, like, what does that feel like for you when you make connection to the fact that you are actually building something that you have ownership of and belongs to you?
It puts a smile on my heart. And you know why it does that? Because when you begin to build something that belongs to you, it's not only about you, it's about the legacy. And you mentioned that early. It's about the legacy that you are building and what is going to outlive you, what is going to outlive you when you're gone. And I think for me, that is the that is the main reason why I continue to go forward, to push myself, even at times when it feels, what am I doing? Do you have the capacity for this? But I know that I have the capacity because it's something that is a God idea. It's a God vision. And I'm not only thinking about now. I have adult children. I have 4 grandchildren, and I'm sure I have a few more coming. And then I think about my great grandchildren. So what I am building as my own, in actuality, it is not about what it's not about me. It's about the legacy that I am building for the next generation and the next generation to have impact in their lives.
That's so beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, I know you know this, and I know that you're planning to be a part of it, but we have Corporate to Entrepreneur coming up. The live event is coming up in October. You have had a chance over the last couple of years, whether it was an event I hosted or events we attended together, to be able to have space with me, be around me, work with me. I think about you in the experience we had during the Power Leader Summit, which happened last year. When you're thinking of these different things that you have had the chance to participate in, and you think about looking forward to the live event that is going to happen in October, tell us about what your experience has been and what you anticipate from what you've had before.
Well, yes, the summit that I attended with you last year, I'm telling you, what it did for me is it motivated me. It inspired me. Not only inspired me, but it inspired me to do more. It inspired me to go forward. And one of the things that I've learned about you in your summits or whatever, whenever you have a gathering, is that you give us more than we expect. There's always more. There's always more. And we are empowered to do more and not to give up on our vision, not to give up on our dreams. And so, looking forward to what's coming up in October, one of the things I'm looking forward to, and the word that keeps coming to me every time I think about it, it's direction. Direction. Because there comes a time in every person's life and season that you need direction. Sometimes we're stuck. Sometimes we're at a crossroad. And this is what happens when I sit in your presence or when I sit in any of your gatherings, is that I leave empowered, I leave excited, and I leave having direction and strategy to be able to go forward.
Oh wow, that's so awesome to hear. You know, one of the reasons why that happens is because I'm very intentional about creating intimate spaces where you can be
Mhm.
seen, where you're not in the back row ducking out. You are participating, you are taking
Mhm.
up space. I think another thing that I can just take away from all of the experiences is the camaraderie that happens in the room with the women who are there, because you are seen, you are in an atmosphere that is charged to allow you to give permission to yourself. And so I am so glad that you are already setting your expectation. I didn't know about the direction, inspiration. And so that is exciting to me that you're starting to get downloads. I want to thank you for taking time out to come on and talk about your own journey and your own experience. I want to really just continue to congratulate you for all of the progress that you have made. As I said before, when we're in the thick of it, we don't really realize everything that we have achieved, and you have achieved so much and accomplished so much, and you're continuing to look for more vision, and I just want to applaud you for that. So thank you for being here. Why don't you go ahead and let people know where they can get in connection with you and talk more with you if they desire to know more about the snapback journey?
Yes. Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much. And thank you for always being a cheerleader, a coach, and a mentor in my own life. So, if you want to know more about the Snapback Life, there's a few places that you can connect with me. Number one, you can connect with me and schedule a call on my website, which is the snapbacklife.org. And also, you can connect with me on YouTube, my YouTube channel, which is a podcast. It's called The Snapback Life with Jacinth Dada. I'm also on Spotify. And I do a live almost every Friday, a Facebook Live, which is the Snapback Life, which we talk about topics that are relevant to us as women, topics that are going to propel you forward into your next. So those are some of the ways that you can get in touch with me. And if you want to purchase my book, The Wisdom Gifts 2, you can purchase that on wisdom.thesnapback.org.
I love that. Congratulations on all of that. Listening to you rattle all those things off, they were non existent a few years ago. And now you got a list of different things that you have going on. And I just marvel at that, because you truly have given yourself to the journey and the process of establishing yourself as a CEO of your vision, of your business, and of your life. And so I just want to congratulate you. Thank you so much, Jacinth, for being here today.
Thank you, Denise. And I want to applaud you too for being a super coach and mentor. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So here's the deal, everyone. That was such a great conversation. You know, if Jacinth's story resonated with you, if it resonated at all, as she talked about the vision that she received in her early 30s, if it resonated at all when she talked about overcoming all of the obstacles that was standing in between her and her starting line, if it resonated with you, and you know that you have been sitting on a calling, you know you have been sitting on a message of impact, you know you have been sitting on a business idea, and you know that it is time to stop circling, it is time to get out of your head, it is time for you to get in a room that is moving in the direction that you are going, then I want to personally invite you to join me and just saying, she's going to be there as well at Corporate to Entrepreneur Live. Now, let me tell you, this event is going to take place in October. And a lot of people always say, I need time to get ready. Well, you got get ready time. It's going to take place October 25th and 26th. This is 2 days in an intimate space, a room with me, where I will bring strategy and plan to your vision. I will help you understand what it takes to not only launch your business, but also begin to accelerate towards income and impact. Now, one of the things Jacinth said that I think is so key is that it is always important to find someone who will show you how and why. That is so critical when you are a business owner. You need to understand how and why. But she touched upon one additional thing. She talked about how I'm there to cheer her on. She talked about times when I'm there to be a listening ear and almost as a therapist for her. She talked about the times that I'm there to mentor and coach her. The key is when you are looking for someone to support you on your journey, you have to have someone who can hold space for your humanity. Yes, the business part is important. You've got to understand how to position your business. Absolutely. What offers to have. Absolutely. How to make the register ring with marketing and messaging and all of those different tactics. All of those things are key when it comes to your business. But when you are on this journey, when you're on the journey of going from corporate to entrepreneur, there's a shift, a growth, an evolution that happens within you personally. And that evolution requires someone who can hold space for you as you are getting clarity in your action, as you are getting confidence on your journey, the stretch that's happening within you as you are leaning more into purpose and beginning to make that pivot and shift. And I think one of the things that makes me so incredibly proud is the environments, the community, the support, and the activation that happens in my rooms are the result of me being that holistic support for every woman that I am coaching. They can count on me for those things. And that is what happens in the room. Now, if you feel like that is something you want to explore, then this live event is where you can come get a taste of it because it's what happens in that room. And I think one of the things that I personally marvel at, especially because entrepreneurism can be a lonely journey. But what I marvel at is that these spaces create community, they create camaraderie. And these are just such amazing aspects that help you feel empowered and encouraged on your journey. And so, what I want to do is invite you to be a part of Corporate to Entrepreneur Live. It is going to take place again in October. You got get ready time. It's October 25th and 26th in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am getting the space, the room, the activation ready for you. And I want you to be a part of what is taking place, especially if anything today resonated with you. Now, here is our mindset to activate today. This is the one that I want you to consider for today. I have had one every day this week, and today's is this. My lived experience isn't just a part of my story, it's the foundation of my impact. That's so key. Everything that you are doing now, we're not turning the faucet off. We are continuing, we are extending your success. So, the lived experience that you have had is not just a part of your story, It's the foundation of the impact and the continued success that you are going to have. So I want to assert you with this. You are not starting from scratch. Never. You are not starting from scratch. And a lot of people fear that because they have this misconception that they are starting over. And that's not the case at all. You are building from purpose. You are building from who you are. And I want you to know that you don't have to figure it all out on your own. I want you to know that even though your resume may say executive, but your calling says entrepreneur, that there is a room for you. And you just need to be in the right room with the right support and the right strategy so that you can begin building the right business that God has called you to. And so, again, this is my personal invitation. And this is also my sign off for week number 1. It has been so refreshing to be back at the mic sharing all week. And if you've missed any of the conversations that I have had one-on-one with you as this week has started, I want you to go back and check out the replays. They're on my YouTube channel. If you go to @DeniseTaylorLive, there's a playlist there from day 1 all the way till today. And I hope that you enjoyed my special treat. I had Jacinth come on because I think she is such an amazing spirit and soul, and God is doing something great in her life. And I have had the indeed pleasure to be a part of her journey, and that makes me proud. Now you can save your seat at www.the CEO Shift. And if you didn't know, we are still in pre-sale mode. Those 2 days with me in a room, energizing you, strategizing with you, and motivating and empowering you can be had for less than $100. That is a steal because you stand to make millions from what we are going to talk about in the room that weekend. And so I want to invite you again, www.theceoshift.live. I want you to know that this space is a room moving in the direction you have been called to move. And it is time for you to be more enterprising. It is time for you to take up space. It is time for you to launch the right business that you have been called to start. So I will look forward to seeing you in the room, and I will also look forward to seeing you next week. My commitment is to go live and do lunch with you every day in the month of August, and I can check week number 1 off. Again, if you've missed the replays, you can check them out on my YouTube channel. The playlist is there at Denise Taylor Live, and I will see you on Monday. Have a good weekend.